Welcome to today's session on HTML. Specifically, today we shall discuss about various elements of hypertext markup language. We have already seen several tags in HTML, several capabilities of HTML. However, HTML is having many capabilities than what we have covered, and I strongly suggest you to explore all the features of HTML. There is no need for you to by heart all the tags. Of course, if you by heart some important tags, it will be very useful, but even otherwise you browse the tag so that you know its capabilities, and whenever you have to design a web page, automatically you will directly refer to that particular tag in detail, because again for some tags there are attributes also, then there are tags with both starting as well as ending symbols, and there are tags which do not end are called empty tags. Now let us consider the tag related to colors. Let us see the tags COL group and COL. Suppose we have to set the background color of 3 columns, then let us use the COL group and COL tags. And let me say we have to create a table, and in the table we will be having columns, and in those columns we will be having the colors. So we can say that some cells will be having a particular color, some other cells will be having different colors. So here when we are saying a collection of columns, let me say suppose there are 3 columns, then we can group them. When we group them, we use the COL group tag, and again for each column we can use COL tag. So here if table is the topmost tag or the outermost tag, then entire tags will come in between the table starting and ending the tag. Then there are several nested tags in it. One is COL group, then we have COL tag, then we have TR tag. TR is nothing but table row. TH tag, that is table header tag. Then we have the style tags, which we have already discussed earlier. So here if we go to the innermost tag at a particular level, that is the COL tag. So COL span is equal to 2, style is equal to background color is equal to red. So here we are setting the background color as red color. Then we have another COL tag. Here the style is equal to background color is yellow. So we are setting the background color as yellow in this particular case. Then let us consider the table rows. Now when we are considering the table row, there will be table headers. Suppose we want to set the headers as ISBN, title and price. So clearly we are speaking about a book, because every book is having a number, it is having a title, and it is also having a price. Of course, it is having an author also. So you can try to add that one also and do something. So here what we do is TH ISBN, close the header tag, again TH title, close the header tag, TH price, close the header tag, and put them in TR tag. So basically these are nested tags. We have TH tag inside the TR tag. So there are 3 TH tags inside the TR tag. Then comes the second row. Here we are having the TD tag. TD is the table data tag. So TD we are having the ISBN number, which is a numeric. Then we have title of the book, which can be written as my first HTML here, and then we have the price of the book, which was given again, which is a numeric. So here we are having all these details in the second row. So the first row is the table header, where we defined TR and TH tags. Then we have the first row where we had table row and table data, and all these things are put in the 2 columns. So you have multiple rows, you have 3 columns. So in the 3 columns we have ISBN, title and price related information. So columns we used the COL group, then For specific columns, we use the COL tag. Then we use for each row of the table, we use a TR tag. Then for each table header name, we use a TH tag. Then to put data in each row, we use the TD tag, and everything is in between table tag. When I say table tag, both starting and ending tags. So this is one example of how to set the background color of 3 columns with the COL group and COL tags. The COL tag specifies column properties for each column within a COL group element. The COL tag is useful for applying styles to entire columns instead of repeating the styles for each cell for each row. And I want to tell you that not every tag will support every browser. Of course, I have to say that you have to take it other way around. Not every browser will support every tag. For example, marquee tag is there. It is supported by the Internet Explorer. Netscape Navigator doesn't support it. Now, so what happened is, we find that there is a tag, then we should also think of the browsers that support this tag before using the tag, because when we use a tag with a limited support, then anybody who tries to browse our website from a browser which doesn't support this tag will get disappointed. So the objectives of our website design may not be met. So in this case, the COL tag is supported by the Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, then we also have the Netscape Navigator, and there are other browsers also. One attribute of the COL tag is span, and it is a number. It specifies the number of columns a COL element should span. So if it spans 2 elements, I mean 2 columns, then for the remaining columns we need to have a COL tag that will be specifying its properties. The div tag defines a division or a section in a HTML document. The div tag is used as a container for HTML elements, which is then styled with CSS or manipulated with JavaScript. The div tag is easily styled by using the class or ID attribute. Any sort of content can be put inside the div tag. By default, browsers always place a line break before and after the div element. Div is supported widely. Chrome, Internet Explorer, Edge, Firefox, they support this particular tag. Then we have a tag called DL. It is basically denoting the description list. The DL tag is used in conjunction with DT tag. It defines the terms or names, and DD is another tag in whose conjunction also this particular DL tag works, and DD tag describes again each term or name. So DL tag is one tag which works in conjunction with DT tag and DD tag. DL tag is supported by again Google Chrome, Edge, and Firefox and other browsers. We have the DT tag, which we have already mentioned just now. It defines a term or name in a description list. This tag is used in conjunction with the DL tag, which also defines a description list, and DD tag, which defines each term or name. Again, DT tag is a widely used tag and is having a good browser support. We have a EM tag. It basically means that we are emphasizing a particular portion of the text. The EM tag is used to define emphasizer tag. The content inside is typically displayed in italic. A screen reader will pronounce the words in emphasis mode, that is in EM with an emphasis using verbal stress. EM tag is again widely used and it is supported by almost all the browsers. Then we have the font tag. Basically, font tag is very famous, but it is not supported in HTML5. It was used in HTML4 to specify the font face, font size and color of the text. Then if font is not supported, I mean font tag is not supported in HTML5, then what is the tag we have to use? For that we have to set the color of the text with the CSS, that is cascading style sheet. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. For example, let me say you have a paragraph and you want to set it in red color, then use P tag and set its attribute style to color colon red, and then have the data, this is a paragraph. And similarly, again we can also set another paragraph with any other color. So again P style is equal to color colon, whatever color we want we can indicate, that is let me say color colon blue, and this is another paragraph. So this is one example of how to use the tags in which will ensure that the correct font and color are indicated without using the font tag. The form tag is another tag. This is very widely used because nowadays everything is a form. Whenever you have to collect data, you need to have a form, and many places wherever we are giving data, we are applying the word form comes into the picture. The form tag is used to create a HTML form for user input. Again, form tag is having both starting and ending tags. The form element can contain one or more of the elements such as input, this is a tag, text area, this is a tag, button, this is a tag, select, option, opt group, field set, label, output. All these are tags that are form of the form. I mean, what I am saying is if form is a tag, that is FORM, then whatever I mentioned, all these elements are part of that particular tag. Form tag is widely supported. So it is as much supported as possible by all the browsers. Then we have a frame tag. Again, frame tag is not supported in HTML5. It's used in HTML4 to define one particular window. Basically, it can define a particular window, that is a frame, within a frame set. So if frame tag is not supported in HTML5, then what is that we have to use? We use the iframe tag instead of it, that is IFRAME. So this tag is used to embed another document within the current HTML document. For example, you have a document and you want to embed it into the current HTML document, then use its address. So for example, we can say iframe src is equal to https://www.ignore.ac.in, and then we write the particular name also, that is we close the iframe. So you have the opening iframe tag, closing iframe tag, in between we give the URL and we name the URL as the source. So whatever is being pointed by the URL, that becomes a part of the current HTML document. So in case you are using HTML5, use iframe but not frame tag. We have already discussed about headers. There are 6 header tags: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6. They can be used for putting headings in the HTML page. So these tags, that is H1 to H6 tags, they are used to define HTML headings. H1 defines the most important heading, H6 defines the least important heading. We have to use only one heading tag per page. Only use one H1 per page. This should represent the main heading or subject for the whole page. Also, do not skip heading levels. Start with H1, then use H2, and we can continue with H3 like that until H6. And all these headings are having wider support from the browsers. H1 to H6 tags also support the global attributes in the hypertext markup language. The head element is a container for the metadata. When I say head element, I am referring to head tag, that is HEAD tag. It is basically a container for metadata. Metadata means data about data and is placed between the HTML tag and the body tag. Metadata is data about the HTML document. Metadata is not displayed. Metadata typically defines the document title, character set, styles, scripts and other meta information. Then there are many elements that can go into the HTML's head element. They are title, it is required in every HTML document, then style tag, base, link, meta, script, no script. All these elements go inside the head tag, and head tag is having a very wider support from the browsers. The header element represents a container for introductory content or a set of navigational links. A header element typically contains one or more heading elements, that is H1 to H6. It is also typically containing a logo or icon. It is also having the authorship information. You can have several header elements in one HTML document. However, header cannot be placed within a footer, address or another header element. Header element or header tag is widely supported by the browsers. Then let us see some HTML formatting elements. These formatting elements were designed to display special types of text. One is B, that is a bold text, then strong, that is important text, then we have I, it is italic text, EM, emphasized text, mark, it is marked text, small, smaller text, DEL, deleted text, INS, inserted text, SUV, subscript text, SUP, superscript text. Then we also have tags, other tags which can be used for formatting. So, as already mentioned, B is very important because it indicates the content in the bold, and normally we select bold, italics and even underlined in our formatting sections in our documents such as MS Word document or any other document. So, here we have even DEL tag which defines the deleted text. Then I have already spoke about mark tag which defines marked or highlighted text. Now we have a tag called block quote. This is for quotations. This particular element, block quote, defines a section that is quoted from another source. Browsers, they usually indent block quote elements. For example, let us consider a paragraph in which we are having a block quote. So, the para starts with P and we say that here is a quote from WWF's website. So, block quote space cite. Cite is an attribute of block quote. So, CITE is the tag. CITE equal to, in double quotations we have given the URL. Basically we are citing it, and then we are writing description what should be the block quote, and then we complete the block code by putting its ending tag. So, here everything starts with the P, then it ends with the P there itself, and then once the block code starts, we are indicating with the block code tag and ending with the block code tag. Now, let us see what can be used for short quotations. We can use lowercase q tag for defining short quotations. Browsers normally insert quotation marks around the quotation. For example, let me say, suppose we have a para, and in that para we said WWF's goal is to build a future where people live in harmony with nature. So, here that particular portion, build a future where people live in harmony with nature, can be treated as a quote. So, we put this particular statement or sentence and between the q tag. So, starting q, ending q, and the entire thing is placed under p tag. So, things start as a paragraph, then we have a quote also. Then we can also use abbreviations in HTML pages. We have to denote abbreviations with ABBR tag. It defines an abbreviation or an acronym like HTML, CSS, Mr., Dr., ASAP, ATM and other things. Marking abbreviations can give useful information to browsers, translation systems and search engines. Use the global title attribute to show the description for the abbreviation or acronym when your mouse moves over the element. For example, let me say we are saying that the title is World Health Organization, and what we are doing is that we are using its abbreviation. So, we can say B, the ABBR title equal to World Health Organization complete, then say WHO, then close the ABBR tag. So anything in between ABBR tag, the title is set to that particular abbreviation, and this is how we can use the abbreviation tag. So basically the title of the abbreviation, the expansion of the observation followed by the abbreviation itself is used to indicate the abbreviation tag by the ABBR tag. Then we have addresses. Even for contact information, we have to give our email address or a telephone or even a physical address or a residential address or a you have to say the work address. So we have an address tag for it, ADDRESS. So the HTML address tag, it defines the contact information for the author or owner of a document or an article. The contact information can be an email address, URL, physical address, phone number, social media handle, and anything else. The text in the address element usually renders in italic, and browsers will always add a line break before and after the address element. So whenever we write address, let us enclose that particular address between the address tags, and always we can have a fresh line inside the address by using a BR tag. Whenever you use BR tag, again immediately the cursor moves to the next line, starting word, starting letter. So you can type things in new line. Earlier we have seen something called cite. Cite is very important because it is used very much in the research papers. So cite is a HTML tag, CITE, for the work title. The HTML cite tag defines the title of a creative work. For example, a person's name, it is not the title of the work. The text in the cite element usually renders in the italic. So if you consider a paragraph in which we say cite followed by the scream, close the cite tag, by Edward Munch, painted in 1983. So by Edward Munch, painted in 1983 will not have any change. But however, we have what is called the scream between the cite starting and ending tags. So that is what we are citing at that moment. Then we have BDO tag for bidirectional purposes. BDO stands for bidirectional override. The HTML BDO tag is used to override the current text direction. For example, BDO dir is equal to RTL. This text will be written from right to left and close BDO tag. Then we have many other tags also, but here let us just review what all tags or elements we have gone. One is ABBR tag, it defines an abbreviation or acronym. Then we have address tag, it defines contact information for the author or owner of the document. Then we have BDO tag, it defines the text direction. We have block quote tag, it defines a section that is quoted from another source. Cite tag, it defines the title of the work. Then we have Q tag, it defines the short inline quotation. We also have comment tags. These are very important to understand the HTML documentation. HTML comments are not displayed in the browser, but they can help document our HTML source code. So we can use these comments to write the functionality of the HTML code. So anybody who wants to update it will read the comments and will be able to do the needful. So in HTML comment tags, we can add comments to our HTML source by using the syntax like exclamation mark followed by 2 dashes, or you can say 2 hyphens. So we again close it with hyphens followed by the closing tag. Here we don't use the exclamation mark. So this is very important that we have exclamation mark in the start tag but not in the end tag. Comments are not displayed by the browser, but they can help document our HTML source code. With the comments, we can place notifications and reminders in the HTML code. This is one most important tag because anybody who develops web pages are expected to use this tag as much as possible so that in future the content can be understood and can be changed as and when needed. Then we have colors. These are very much important because there are large number of color combinations and we should be in a position to render appropriate colors to the websites. So in HTML, a color can be specified by using a color name. We have different names for the colors. All these colors can be used. For example, tomato, orange, Dodger blue, medium sea green, gray, shade blue, then we have violet, then we have light gray, and there are many more. HTML supports 140 standard color names. Then we always have a challenge, what background color our web pages should have. We can do it using the background color tag. For example, we can say, suppose the heading is there, we want a particular background for the heading, then we can say h1 style is equal to background color, and let us write the name of the color and write the title. The same is the case with any other header as well. Then what color should the text be? Normally it is there in the black, but in case you want it in a different color, that also is possible to be set in the HTML. So one is that directly say that h1 style is equal to color tomato hello world. So we have heading which is known as hello world and it is in the tomato color. The same is the case with another heading also, but we can always change the color of any heading by using the HTML code. So I thank you very much all of you for attending the today's discussion. In case you have any doubts, please mail to pvsuresh@igno.ac.in. Thanks a lot.